Excuse me. Pardon. Oh, live apparently. Haha. Hello, folks. How is out there in YouTube land? If anybody's out there, just say hello. Popping on a wee moment already just to make sure everything's working okay, as usual. And if anybody's there, as I said, say hello. Oops. Pardon me. Wee second. Sorry. Just getting myself organized as always. But everything seems to be working okay with the camera, and it looks like we've got on the sound machine, though it's not peaking at all. I see. Anyway, that's not too bad. I think everything's okay. Yeah, and we'll be getting on with chapter 24 of Children of Dune tonight. Once we have, well, there's 10 o'clock, folks. So what I'll do is I'll say hello to everybody. I'm Dr. Sloan. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to my science fiction station here on YouTube, also known as the Doghouse. And tonight we're getting on with chapter 24. Apologies, of Children of Dune. And it's a fast little chapter tonight. I don't expect it to take us too long to tear through. Pardon me. It's really what I would call an action driver, if you like. It's going to shove the plot forward. And in the previous chapter, we've had the culmination of Alia's plots against her mother and an assassination attempt there. And in this chapter, we have the culmination of, the beginning of the culmination of House Corrino's plot against the twins here, with the Laza Tigers. And again, very much in the reiteration of themes and motifs within Dune, we see someone being aware of a trap and kind of deliberately stepping into it. And there's Julian Thompson saying, Hiya, Julian, how you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Thanks for joining us, as always. Pardon me. So it's a fast little chapter. It really does drive the action. We get a little bit of some stuff in this of interest, I suppose. For me, linguistically, I think as we're moving from the safety of the Sietch into the desert, we're getting a return to those kind of desert terminology, geological terms, ecological terms, if you like, and we're going to get to see a slight variance on the flora and fauna, if you like, of Arrakis as it is now. So it's basically a transition chapter, I think, where it's a transition point for the twins, and as they're transiting, if you like, between civilized Sietch, if you like, the safety of Sietch life, into the danger of the open desert, this kind of thing. So yeah, it's and we have a couple of other little things here, a little bit of, I suppose, a good bit of building the tension, I think, in this one, because we're not going to get this the conclusion to this chapter to a couple more chapters ahead. So it's a bit of a cliffhanger for us in some ways if we're working ahead a chapter at a time like this, you know. There's Cynthia saying, evening, Doc, and all. Hi, Cynthia. Thanks very much for joining us. Hope you're keeping well. Carlos saying, hey guys, hi Doc, hi Carlos, how you doing? Thank you very much for joining us as always. Good to see you, folks. And there's Chaya saying, shalom all. Shalom, Chaya. Hope you're keeping well. Big hi to all of you. It's good to see you all here. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a fast little chapter, as I said, but there are a few little things in it just to point out, I suppose. But we've got a bit of a corker at the start of the chapter with our epigraph, which is an interesting little thing. I ended up getting a page and a half of notes on this. Pardon me, partly because it's not correct. So we'll start with that just to get going, I think, folks. But here we are. It's epigraph 24 for chapter 24. When I am weaker than you, I ask for freedom because that is according to your principles. When I am stronger than you, I take away your freedom because that is according to my principle. And what we've got here then is that these are the words of an ancient philosopher. And then it says, attributed by Hark al-Ada to one Louis Violo. And I've written next that incorrectly. So I've actually got the real quotation for you here. There's a few people who've done a wee bit of work on this on the internet as well. And unfortunately, the references are wrong. In fact, what I've found so far is actually that they have mistitled the book that it appears in. But I'll give you the info on it, and then I'll give you the actual quote, folks. Attributed to Louis Violo, if I'm pronouncing that Violo, correctly. His dates are 1813 to 1883. He was a French journalist and author. This quotation was wrongly attributed to Boileau by Frank Herbert, and in his lifetime, Boileau denied ever having said it. So it was attributed to him in his own lifetime, if you like, and there was a denial. Now, I've written, seems to be, it is Russell. Okay, that's me telling myself off. Now, the real quote comes from Thomas Babington Macaulay, First Lord Macaulay, whose dates are 1800 to 1859. Now, apparently, the quote, now, the false attribution of the quotation, sorry, just to let you know, Macaulay's a well-known sort of politician and historian. The quote was attributed to Boileau incorrectly by Carl Forbrenné, the Comte de Montalembert. That's wrong. Sorry, let me read that again. As much as that's the phonetic spelling, it's Carl Forbrenné, Comte de Montalembert. Got it. 1810 to 1870. So this if Frank had done his research, and this has been known for quite some time, he would have known this, I think. So this quotation isn't actually attributed to Louis Boileau at all. Where that comes from is it was incorrectly attributed to him by Carl Forbrenné, the Comte de Montalembert, sorry, and the actual quote comes from Thomas Babington Macaulay, the First Lord of Macaulay, and here it is. So it's the doctrine which, from the very first origin of religious dissensions, has been held by bigots of all sects, when condensed into a few words and stripped of rhetorical disguise, is simply thus. Is simply this. And this is the bit that lines up with the other quote. I am in the right and you're in the wrong. When you're the stronger, you ought to tolerate me, for it is your duty to tolerate truth. But when I am stronger, I shall persecute you, for it is my duty to persecute error. Now, online, that's been attributed to Macaulay's Critical and Miscellaneous Essays. No such book. It's an incorrect reference. The book itself is actually Critical and Historical Essays. It's in 2 volumes. It published in 1843. Basically, it's made up of these essays were originally published prior to this in the Edinburgh Review, and I've written down here also the Whig interpretation of history, which is I suppose Macaulay is probably kind of famous for. So he's a Victorian historian, politician and poet, etc. And there we go. So that's the actual quote. I am in the right and you're in the wrong. When you're the stronger, you ought to tolerate me, for it is your duty to tolerate truth. But when I am the stronger, I shall persecute you, for it is my duty to persecute error. And it's an interesting statement, isn't it? I wonder what you think of it, guys. I thought that this could apply both, in a sense, to Leto and Ghanima, but I was also thinking more a wee bit ahead. I'm thinking about Leto and Farad'n actually as well. But there we go. It's an interesting little thing. And I suppose what we can take from it is one of two things. Either Frank's research was sloppy and he didn't do it correctly, or I suppose it could be a deliberate error of a future historian, if you see what I mean, getting something incorrect. But I actually don't think so. I think that's just the Louis Boileau bit there. If this was bang on, we should just change his name there to Thomas Babington Macaulay, basically. But I thought that was interesting. It was a good little wee bit of research to get all that stuff. It was fun. So here we go, folks. And again, any comments or questions, let me know. I think this one will go pretty quick, to be honest with you. Let's see. I'll get some fluids first of all. Goodness gracious, quite nippy here tonight. I've got the window open. Pardon me. Right. Let's see. Okay. So Leto leaned out the covert exit from the Sietch, saw the bite of the cliff towering above his limited view. Late afternoon sunlight cast long shadows in the cliff's vertical striations. A skeleton butterfly flew in and out of the shadows, its webbed wings a transparent lacery against the light. How delicate that butterfly was to exist here, he thought. Oh, excuse me, one wee second, folks. I need to get something here. Missed highlighting something here. Just to keep it right with everything else, apologies. So how delicate that butterfly was to exist here, he thought. Very quickly, we have a couple of terms here, and we're going to get a few things like that. We have bite and we have striations. Bite is a concave curve or recess in a geological feature, and striations are kind of like grooves in a cliff. Pardon me. One other thing was I did a bit of looking. I can't find any indication that a skeleton butterfly is a real type of butterfly. The only thing I would suggest is that skeletal, well, wouldn't really be an adjective, would it? Would be skeletal. But I couldn't find any kind of species like that. So a skeleton butterfly flew in and out of the shadows, its webbed wings, a transparent lacery against the light. How delicate that butterfly was to exist here, he thought. I love butterflies. I think they're gorgeous. Butterflies in mythology tend to represent transformations, and especially to do with the soul. So it's an interesting creature in mythology. I don't think. Let me see. I'll be trying to. I've got a new mouse and keyboard here, folks. Let me just have a wee quick look. Let's see. Oh, the AI is popping in. I do not know. Just let me see. Sorry, I'll just go down and see if there's any Wikipedia type stuff around. Look at the insects and mythology. Here we go. Transformations. The butterfly. Aha. What have I got here? No, there's a stub on, but I'll just read you what it says. According to Lafcadio O'Hearn, a butterfly is seen in Japan as the personification of a person's soul, whether they be living, dying, or already dead. If a butterfly enters your guest room and perches behind the bamboo screen, it's said in Japan that the person whom you most love is coming to see you. Large numbers of butterflies are viewed as bad omens. It says when Taira no Masakado was secretly preparing for his famous revolt, there appeared in Kyoto so vast a swarm of butterflies that the people were frightened, thinking the apparition to be a portent of coming evil. Now, I had this actually here, by the way. I've got on my notes that the ancient Greek for butterfly is psyche, which is the word for soul as well. Pardon me. This bit's here actually. Deirdre's Encyclopedia similarly cites butterflies as a symbol for the soul. A Roman sculpture depicts a butterfly exiting the mouth of a dead man, representing the Roman belief that the soul leaves through the mouth. The ancient Greek word for butterfly is psyche, which primarily means soul or mind. According to Mircea Eliade, some of the Nagas of Manipur claim ancestry from a butterfly. In some cultures, butterflies symbolize rebirth. So let's see, what's this one we've got here? Here's an example. Ancient Greek myth tells of the Kithara player, Unamos, Mr. Good Tune, as it says here. During a competition, the highest string on his 5-string kithara broke. At that moment, a cicada landed on his musical instrument and sang in the place of the missing string. Together, they won the competition. Oh, okay. So, yes, indeed, a symbol of transformation, a symbol of the soul. As well, and I think this chapter it's kind of the beginning of the adventure in a funny way for Leto and Ghanima, in a sense, and this is the transformative set of events that's going to change them forever, and the real change I think it will become is partly because of their separation, I think. Anyway, little bit of stuff there. Now, Leto directly ahead of him. This is Leto. Directly ahead of him lay the apricot orchard, with children working there to gather the fallen fruit. Beyond the orchard was the Quannet, sorry. He and Ghanima had given the slip to their guards by losing themselves in a sudden crush of incoming workers. It had been a relatively simple matter to worm their way down an air passage to its connection with the steps to the covert exit. I quite like the use of the word worm there. Now they had only to mingle themselves with the children, work their way to the Quannet, and drop into the tunnel. There they would move beside the predator fish, which kept sand trout from insisting the tribe's irrigation water. No Fremen would yet think of a human risking accidental immersion in water. I've talked about this before. I think that's no. It's bound to have happened at some point in this time. And just risking accidental immersion in water. I think it's just bound to have happened. Chaya said, I seem to recall this wouldn't be the first time Frank has put misleading or incorrect info in the intro or its attribution. Hark Alada especially gets it wrong, but I may be thinking of God, Emperor of Dune. Yeah, at the same time, I get that. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, actually, what's kind of interesting, Chaya, is just in terms of the books that I'm reading, just finished Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama, but in all honesty, I've been reading this. Though the writing's pretty tiny in my copy. And where am I at the minute? I'm about page 123 through it. And I'm having the same bother actually with some of the epigraphs in this. I'm having a little bit of I don't know. I'm having a little bit of bother with Frank's idea of Irishness in this at the minute. But yes, and that's the thing. That's why I asked the question: is it deliberately misleading? Would he assume that we would go and look up Louis Vilo? Maybe not. I don't know. It's easy to do such things in these days with the internet, isn't it? And the World Wide Web. Not so much back in the day, I think. From my understanding, it's a well-known misattribution, and that the actual person who said it is also well known. So it was just one of those things. Did Frank get it wrong, or is it, as you say, is it a historian deliberately getting something wrong from a point so far in the future? And it happens. Historians do get things wrong, or historians engage in things with bias. There's all sorts of reasons for it. So it's a very good point, Chad. But I'm not sure. Chad said, I think The White Plague is the scariest book I've ever read. I've read it, but I used to say it's the book that, well, once upon a time it gave me ideas, and that's all I'll say. That I'm living here and living in Ireland and Northern Ireland. Jonathan said, I agree. It's a very mean-spirited book. It's a vengeance book, isn't it? It's if you're going to do revenge, you've got taken to an extreme. I think it's I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it. I like my Frank Herbert, as I'm sure you know, but it's maybe I don't know. I'm certainly reading it differently this time. But I don't know how I would put it. Sometimes there's perceptions of Ireland in America that I don't know. That Ireland's very much like the best example. The best thing I could think to say about it would be that Ireland's like The Quiet Man, basically. If you know the John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara film, the John Ford film. There's a few interesting things about the history of cinema in Ireland and people coming from America to make movies here in the very, very early days of cinema. I wonder if I've got the textbook with this in it somewhere. I'll have a wee look sometime if I can see it. But it's Americans arriving here and not finding the typical Irish cottage that they really wanted to have, so they built it. And then basically that they took a photograph of that. That became a really, really famous postcard in America of what a typical Irish cottage was, and it wasn't. It was one of those things, you know. Let's see what you're just saying there, folks. Shana said, I enjoy rereading The Whipping Star. Yeah, it's what I was saying, folks. I've got to that point where I some books I've read so long ago that I just don't remember them at all. I was saying about the Arthur C. Clarke books. I read a lot of his stuff around the age of 9 or 10. You know, same with Asimov, though I've read both of them later on in life, and I was kind of, oh, I don't want to. I'm not sure if I want to go back to these things, and you know, because just the whole life's too short kind of thing. But the fact that I don't remember them that well has given me an excuse, and so I'm tearing into. I've got a whole bunch of books tearing into at the minute, but I'm certainly engaging with the big four, if you know what I mean. I've read a wee bit of Heinlein a wee bit ago, and recently I've read some Asimov and Clarke, and I thought, yeah, I actually thought it'd be right and proper to grab one of Frank's books off the shelf and reread, and especially probably because the last time I looked at a lot of his books was around the time of the PhD. I was having to sort and filter and really, can I read all of this? Do I need to, you know, this kind of thing? And ultimately, I was tearing through them a fair bit, but my focus had to get really, really narrowed down onto the Dune series. You know, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I was thinking about that actually. Oddly enough, Chai, what's the next one I'm going to read? But I kind of wanted this one read before I got to the God Emperor of Dune, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I'll see if I see anything that sort of piques my interest in it. Yeah. But yeah, there's some wee things in here, etc. And again, some of them are from the characters, and you know, they're sort of quotations from the characters. But there's a very interesting one here. It says there was never a greater anti-Irish bigot than Shakespeare. And this is being quoted by Joseph Herity in the book. And I was going, really? I didn't get that from Shakespeare at all. I was wondering, you know, but it's an interesting thing. I'm actually kind of wondering. What it's got me wondering about is how much research did he do? Did he actually travel over here, or is his descriptions of some of the places certainly look as if he's been reading a map? I think sometimes, you know, and describing things as if there were a map, you know. But yeah, enjoy rereading the White Plague after God Emperor Dune 1982 is very into his own ideas around that time. Yeah, it's kind of what I've always said about his Irish book, and I always thought that there were aspects of the Fremen, as much as there's from so many other cultures, but the aspects of the Fremen that appear in God Emperor of Dune were very much reminded me of the Ulstermen, basically, you know. That kind of thing. I'll read the Whipping Star next. Because I recently read the Green Brain, fun stuff. It's very. I think I might have said I wasn't that fond on it, but I have a very hard time saying the Green Brain as a Northern Irish person. But it is. It's. Yeah, that's the book immediately. Let's see. So it's Dragon in the Sea, then Dune, and then the Green Brain. Yes, indeed. I like it. It is, but it's sometimes sometimes I associate Frank with certain elements in the science fiction of probably B movies of the 1950s, that monster flicks and stuff like that, you know. But the Green Brain's an okay. Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's all right. What would be the one I would probably grab next? I don't know. Let me see. Whipping Star would be a good choice. Hellstrom's Hive, probably, I think, would be the one outside of the Dune books that I would probably have a nosy at, you know. But I was also thinking about having a potter through. I've been enjoying, what I'm particularly enjoying lately is that short stories. You know, short stories by all of these authors. You can get through them pretty quick, you know. We have a wee bit of stuff there on the actual process of the sand trout and how they insist the water, if you like. But we've got this reminder. Oh yes, that where are we? That they could move beside the predator fish, which kept Sandtrout from insisting the tribe's irrigation water. No Fremen would yet think of a human risking accidental immersion in water. So we've got a little bit of the what the worms, what the sand trout do with water. Essentially, I get the sense that they link up and form a gigantic membrane, if that makes sense. It's an odd term for what they do with the water, isn't it? So he stepped out of the. This is Leto. He stepped out of the protective passages. The cliff stretched away on both sides of him, turning horizontal just by the act of his own movement. Ghanima moved closely behind him. Both carried small fruit baskets woven of spice fibre, but each basket carried a sealed package: Fremkit, Mala pistol, crysknife, and the new robes sent by Farad'n. Ghanima followed her brother into the orchard. Oh, excuse me. And again, the mention we're going to get some ecological geological terminology within this chapter. We're also getting new plants and animals, if you like. As I said, I got nothing on the skeleton butterfly. Pardon me. And yeah, this is their gear for their adventure, if you like. So I very much do think this is a bit, because if you think about this, in some ways you can look at these books, but I think Children of Dune very much returns to having some of the really what we would call the old-fashioned boys' own adventure. I know it's not a great term these days, but that kind of thing, if you like. The I suppose the old target audience of these kind of books, and if you like, back in the day, back in the day, listen to me. But yes, we're getting the two. The two twins basically on beginning this great adventure. I think I get a sense of that. So Ghanima followed her brother into the orchard, mingled with the working children. Stillsuit masks concealed every face. There were just two more workers here, but she felt that the action drawing her life away from protective boundaries and known ways. What a simple step it was, that step from one danger into another. Yeah, there were just two more workers here, but she felt the action drawing her life away from protective boundaries and known ways. What a simple step it was, that step from one danger into another. It reminds me a little bit on The Hobbit, what I think, to go on an adventure and step outside your door, that kind of statement, if you see what I mean. Let's see. Chaya saying, Julian, the main character McKee shows up in some of Frank's short stories as well. Enjoy. I just said, thank you, Chaya. Orchards are very important in Dune. And yeah, and again, I suppose that the absolute change from previously, if you like, from the planet before. Let's see. So in their baskets, those new garments sent by Farad'n conveyed a purpose well understood by both of them. And I've written next to that, really, question mark. Do they understand the purpose of it? I'm not too sure. Ghanima had accented this knowledge by sewing their personal motto, "We share," in Chekhov's above the hot crest at each breast. So it's quite possible that they do understand that these represent a real danger to them. It got me thinking about killing people with clothing, sartorial murder. If you I was thinking, like Heracles in the shirt of Nessus, this kind of thing, and Agamemnon himself is in one version of the story is killed by a net shirt that has no neck or sleeves in it. It's used to entrap him, if you like, before he's killed. There's quite a few of these stories like that. It would be twilight soon, and beyond the quiet, which marked off Sietch cultivation, there would come a special quality of evening, which few places in the universe could match. It would be that softly lighted, desert world with its persistent solitude, its saturated sense that each creature in it was alone in a new universe. I think it's a lovely bit of writing. I really thought that was excellent. Um, we've been seen, Ghanima whispered, bending to work beside her brother. Guards? No, others. Good. We must move swiftly, she said. Leto acknowledged this by moving away from the cliff through the orchard. He thought with his father's thoughts. Everything remains mobile in the desert or perishes. Pardon me. I'm not sure I agree with that, to be honest with you. Everything is an absolute, isn't it? It's generalization as well. But I think there are plenty of things that stay rooted in the desert. Said that I've never been to one, so what would I know? Far out on the sand, he could see the attendants outcropping, reminder of the need for mobility. Let me just see if I've read that correctly, folks. That looks like I missed something there, possibly. Number 10. Sorry, bear with me a second. So I can see the attendants outcoming. Right. Far out on the sand, he could see the attendants outcropping. Reminder of the need for mobility. Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, doesn't sound quite. I've actually written just below this. Not a great sentence. There you go. Should have paid more attention to that. Which is a bit sad following that nice bit of writing, isn't it? Doesn't flow well, does it? The rocks lay static and rigid in their watchful enigma, fading yearly before the onslaught of wind-driven sand. One day the attendant would be sad because of wind erosion, this kind of thing. Made me think of Ozymandias a wee bit there. As they neared the Quannet, they heard music from a high entrance of the Sietch. It was an old-style Fremen group. Two-holed flutes, tambourines, timpani made on spice plastic drums with skins stretched taut across one end. No one asked what animals on this planet provided that much skin. This is kind of interesting, isn't it? We've got a Fremen band here. Flutes, tambourines, and timpani made on spice plastic drums with skins stretched taut across one end. No one asked what animals on this planet provided that much skin. I've written here plastic wouldn't be great for those kind of drums, to be honest with you. But the strong suggestion here, I think, is that the skins are made are human skins. Quite possibly Harkonnen skins, this kind of thing. We get some of Leto's thoughts here. Stilgar will remember what I told him about that cleft in the attendant. Leto thought. He'll come in the dark when it's too late, and then he'll know. So presently, so this has been all set. Again, they've planned this basically, haven't they? And he's taken Stilgar out to show him certain things. And it's basically to make sure that certain events work out, if you like. So as much as we have the twins entering into a trap here deliberately, there's a plan within a plan, and so on and so forth. And we're going to get the whole details. I think that's the other thing. We get the details, what they're as much as we kind of know what they're up to. We get it detailed for us here. Presently, they're at the Quannet. They slipped into an open tube, climbed down the inspection ladder to the service ledge. It was dusky, damp, and cold in the Quannet, and they could hear the predator fish splashing. Any sand trout trying to steal this water would find its water-softened inner surface attacked by the fish. Humans must be wary of them too. Pardon me. Made me think kind of what kind of fish are they? And then also we've got a little bit of a detail here about the sand trout again. Though I couldn't quite figure out what he meant by this. Any sand trying to steal this water would find its water softened inner surface. Not sure what he meant by inner surface, really, that's all. Attacked by the fish. So yeah, I put a little question mark next to that, but it's a little bit more info. I suppose about the soundtrack and the relationship, in this case, with water. Water softened inner surface. Oh, let's check. Hang on, we got something. Where are we? Oh, we've got lots of stuff here. Let me see. Skeleton butterfly reminds me of the death's. Well, that's the one that I found. The death's head hawk moth with the skull pattern on its butterfly. Yes, indeed, that's what I thought. I was wondering, was he referring to that? Because off I went. I don't know much about butterflies, but first thing I wanted to know was, is there a skeleton butterfly? Yeah, and yes, indeed, skeleton. Make you think of death, wouldn't it? Ominous. The skeleton butterfly. Yeah, I don't know, but I love. We get butterflies in the garden here and bees, and I love watching them. They're gorgeous, but they are, they're fantastic. Skeleton butterfly reminds me of the death's head hawk moth with the skull pattern on its body. Cynthia, they both sound. Oh, sorry, that's Carlos saying Cynthia. They both sound very ominous, don't they? So they're saying, Carlos, yes, indeed. There are a number of images here prior to the tigers: skeleton butterfly, predator fish, human skin. Yes, drums that have been people's skin. Yes, indeed. So as much as meant to say a number of dark images, says Cynthia. Chaya Sound Mind says animal in the singular. What animal on this planet provided that much skin? No one asked what animals on this planet provided that much skin. Let me just check. That might have been me making a mistake. What animal on this planet provided that much skin? Where are we? That's number 11. I've got, so mine is, have I written it down correctly? I have, no one asked what animals, plural, on this planet provided that much skin. Chaya in her version has what animal? As in from what animal? No one asked what animal on this planet provided that much skin. So yeah, I've got a plural. Okay, thank you very much. Some of us have got a plural, and some of us have got a singular here. Where's that? I wonder which it should be. What animals on this? What animal? Yeah, it would be. I don't know. It could be either, couldn't it? Thank you for pointing that out. We do like these wee details, don't we? Singular. I'll just put singular in other editions, maybe. In other editions, at least. Which one are you reading? Chai, have you got the Berkeley? Is that? Just wondering. As always, it seems to be the one to have, doesn't it? Thank you very much for that. Julian saying skinning seems to be a fashion in the worst days of the Fedeki. I suddenly see what Leto might have meant in tyranny being better than some future alternatives. Yes, his tyranny. Let me just read that again. Skinning seems to be a fashion in the worst days of the Fedeki. I suddenly see what Leto might have meant in his tyranny being better than some future alternatives. Cynthia said my edition says animal in the singular too. Yeah, it's it'll be yeah. Which one have I got working from this? This is Golance. This one is the one I work. So it's plural in this one. I'm still a bit baffled at how these mistakes have occurred. You know, it is a strange thing. But yeah, thank you, Cynthia. Chas, yeah, Berkeley. I thought it was talking about the worms, not human skin. Well, I would go no there. Because the skin of the worm is like really hard to. Was it? We're told nothing short of atomics or something like that, isn't it? way back. Maybe I'm quoting David Lynch. I can't remember. But no, I would have went with human skin here. I don't know what if you guys agree, but yeah, worms. I don't know. If you had a skin of a worm, I think you would have a spice plastic drum industry. Never mind, a couple of drums here and there. That would be an awful lot of drums. I think there is a suggestion that I think if Julian's saying there, in the worst days of the Veda King, I'm sure there's a couple of skinning suggestions way back in Dune actually. Let me see. Go on, watch this new mouse. Bear with me a wee second. Let me have a wee quick look. There we go. Bear with me a wee second, folks. I'll find these things. Where was science fiction and fantasy literature? Right. Ba-dum. Right, bear with me a wee second. I'll just have a wee quick run through this. Slag skin one, is it? Oh. Bear with me a wee second, folks. Sorry about this. Skin. Quite a few references to skin. I just thought there was some sort of reference. It was a kind of like Muad'Dib's, something like battle drums or a standard or something like that. No, I'll not find it. I'll have a wee look some other time, folks, for that, rather than waste your time. Ping. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's see. Go soft after drowning it with spice orgies. Waste not one. That'll be the stunted worms, yeah. Yes. Julian Thompson, there is. They made it into drums. At least fish speakers don't do that. Thank you, Julian. Carlos Caceres, and I thought the worms disintegrated upon their death, but I might be remembering that wrong. I can't remember that, Carlos. We'll have to have a look at that when we find it. Julian said they do. The sandtrout break away and insist nearby water. They drown stunted captive worms, but not ones hardened by friction with sand in the open desert. So it's again these kind of little details that if we can piece them together, we can build up a better picture of the animal and its life cycle. I popped that from last chapter. The idea of the sand trout emerging kind of did make me think on the sea lamprey there. So I popped that wee life cycle thing up on the community page of the channel there, folks, just if anybody wanted to check it out again. Often when I put these things up, then they just disappear in an endless scroll, don't they? So I pop them up back now and then, basically. Right, let's see. But yeah, thank you very much for that. Singular and other editions. Good to know. We are taking these books apart, aren't we? Let's see. So we got Leto's thought Stilgar will remember what I told him about the cleft and the attendant. Leto thought he'll come in the dark when it's too late, and then he'll know. So presently, is that where we got to? Sorry, just to double check. Yeah, I think so. Pardon me. Presently, they were at the Quamet. They shipped into an open tube, climbed down the inspection ladder to the service ledge. Sorry, it was dusky, damp, and cold in the Quamet, and they would hear the predator fish splashing, and sandtrout trying to steal this water would find its water-softened inner surface attacked by the fish. Humans must be wary of them too. You see that statement there goes back to, no Fremen would ever think of risking accidental immersion in water. Is that because of the predator fish? But again, it's bound to have happened. Otherwise, why would we have this comment that humans have to be wary of them too? Careful, Leto said, moving down the slippery ledge. He fastened his memory to times and places his flesh had never known. Ghanima followed. At the end of the quiet, they stripped to their still suits and put on the new robes. They left the old Fremen robes behind as they climbed out another inspection tube, wormed their way over a dune and down the far side. There they sat, shielded from the siege, strapped on Mala pistols and crysknives, slipped the Frem kit packs onto their shoulders. They no longer could hear the music. Yes, indeed. I like the idea of the Fremen band. So this idea. So they're strapping on the gear, getting ready for business, if you like. Pistols, guns, knives, survival kit, and the music is they can't hear it anymore. It's a separation from them for the siege. And again, these are the thing is, as much as we seldom remember this, these are 2 9-year-old children, pretty much. This is a big thing, even with all the other memory stuff, I think. Leto arose, struck out through the valley between the dunes. Ghanima fell into step behind him, moving with practiced unrhythmical quiet over the sand. So they're walking without rhythm. Below the crest of each dune, they bent low and crept across into the hidden lee, there to pause and peer backward, seeking pursuit. No hunters had emerged upon the desert by the time they reached their first rocks. So they're crossing the desert, going from rock to rock, if you like, actively looking, constantly for the things that are coming for them, basically, the hunters. In the shadows of the rocks, they worked their way around the attendant, climbed to a ledge looking out upon the desert. Colors blinked that's my handwriting again. Colors blinked far out on the blade. The darkening air held the fragility of fine crystal. The landscape which met their gaze was beyond pity. Nowhere did it pause, no hesitation in it at all. The gaze stayed upon no single place in its scanning movements across that immensity. I like that it's the landscape met their gaze. I was wondering, was that a mistake, actually? The second time it's the gaze in my book. That's note number 19. Nowhere did it pause, no hesitation. The gaze stayed upon no single place in its scanning movements across that immensity. I was just wondering about that. But it's fine. But if it is the gaze, it's kind of like that they're 2 independent gazes have become one, almost, if you like. So they're constantly scanning for danger. And we get Leto's thoughts here, actually. It is the horizon of eternity, Leto thought. That's very enigmatic, isn't it? But for him, maybe this is he is literally sort of breasting the horizon of eternity as the God Emperor. Ghanima crouched beside her brother, thinking the attack will come soon. Oh, sorry, bear with me a second, folks. Just a wee bit there. Just to be highlighting. There we go. The attack will come soon. She listened for the slightest sound, her whole body transformed into a single sense of tight probing. Leto sat equally alert. He knew now the culmination of all the training which had gone into the lives he shared so intimately. In this wilderness, one developed a firm dependence on the senses, all of the senses. Life became a horde of stored perceptions, each one linked only to momentary survival. Let's see. You have the gaze as well. Thank you, chat. Children feels like a swan song for Fremen culture. As the desert goes, the last moments of Fremen survival culture. As the desert goes, the last moments of Fremen survival culture. Frank gets to write some classic desert traversing. Yeah, it's it's a good. Sorry, that was Julian's point there. It is, and we're getting little terminologies and the languages in here. With the hidden lee, which is the sheltered side of a formation away from the wind, basically. And we have the blade as well. And yeah, so this terminology, the words of the desert for us, if you like, from the books have come back a lot here. And we're going to get a sense of the life in it as well, which has changed. It's transformed. Everything's transformative here, isn't it? It's and it's a small little. This is a little chapter, which, as I said, I think drives the action, but there's a lot more to it. And just the things that Frank's dropping into it here, I think is quite good. And it's as we go, it's going to. I think it's very much building tension. If it is the gaze there, Chai, that's what I was thinking. That their gaze is the two, the two of them, but it's almost that it's become a kind of mono focus, if you like. I thought that was quite good, and if that was the case, because I like the writing in that paragraph. Colors blinked far out on the blade. The darkening air had the fragility of fine crystal. It was a nice little paragraph, I thought. And as we get that, it is the horizon of eternity, Leto thought, after rather enigmatic. They're certainly an interesting pair of kids, aren't they? The attack will come soon. She listened for the slightest sound, her whole body transformed into a single sense of tight probing. And then I think this is often the thing that Frank runs with, is that, training and this kind of thing, your ultimate reliance on self and skills, if you like. So Leto sat equally alert. He knew the culmination of all the training which had gone into the lives he shared so intimately. In this wilderness, one developed a firm dependence on the senses, all of the senses. Life became a horde of stored perceptions, each one linked only to momentary survival. So that they have this horde of other memory with all of their skills available to them as well. Presently, Ghanima climbed up the rocks and peered through a notch at the way they had come. The safety of the Sietch seemed a lifetime away, a bulk of dumb cliffs rising out of brown-purple distance, dust-blurred edges at the rim where the last of the sunlight cast its silver streaks. Still no pursuit could be seen in the intervening distance. She returned to Leto's side. So they're constantly looking, moving forward, constantly looking about. And I suppose we get Ghanima and Leto's thinking here. But the attack's going to come soon, says Ghanima. Moving forward, it'll be a predatory animal, Leto said. That's my tertiary computation. And Ghanima says, I think you stopped computing too soon. Ghanima said, it'll be more than one animal. House Corrino has learned not to put all of its hopes into a single bag. I've written just next to this, it's not ferrets anyway, as the discussion went with Alia previously. Leto nodded agreement. I was kind of wondering then about Leto computing there. Sorry. Being a mentat, in a sense, isn't he? But has Ghanima been doing the same thing? She seems to have a better finger on the pulse of what's happening here. The attack's coming soon. Predatory animal. No, more than one. House Corrino. Leto nodded agreement, so he agrees with her. This is them running the problem. His mind felt suddenly heavy with the multitude of lives which his difference provided him. All of those lives, his even before birth. He was saturated with living and wanted to flee from his own consciousness. The inner world was a heavy beast which could devour him. Mm. Yeah, heavy beast like that. And as much as the metaphor can kind of run concurrent, if you like, with the real heavy beasts that are heading towards them. It's an interesting way to think of the other memory, isn't it? The inner world was a heavy beast which could devour it, can completely consume it. Uh, yeah, it started to get me thinking about it from Leto's point of view. Is that the other memory very much like what would we call it? The monster that guards the pearl of great awareness. This kind of thing. uh, yeah, it's a very interesting way of putting it. Will it become a heavy beast that devours him? If you see what I mean. Hmm. Excuse me. Let me see. I get a few bit of fluids here. Let's have a look at your comments, folks. Something said interesting that the culmination of all the training which had gone into the lives he shared is momentary survival. Yes. Okay, but it seems a narrow view of humanity. Hmm. I suppose it is, but it's one I would go with occasionally. That the only thing you can do is really survive. Sometimes, maybe. I don't know. I'm a bit cynical that way. It is a narrow view of humanity, so they are being cynical. Hmm. But I suppose, is it the necessity of the moment? If you see what I mean, that within the other memory, you don't want everybody popping up and presenting either knitting skills or their crochet or their how to play tiddlywinks well or how to speed read a book or how to fix a car when it's absolutely the wrong, when you're being haunted by tigers. If you've got that full culmination of all humanity and all their training and knowledge within you, um, it needs to be highly selective, doesn't it? I'd want the number, whoever thinks he's the best desert survivalist to stand up now. And anybody here ever killed any Laza Tigers? That's the people I'd be wanting to be first and foremost. But at the same time, this desert is lethal, isn't it? Um, hmm. And they're being hunted, and in a funny way, they are the hunters too. Um, hmm. Restlessly he arose, pardon me, climbed to the notch Ghanima had used, peered at the cliffs of the Sietch. Back there, beneath the cliff, he could see how the Quanat drew a line between life and death. On the oasis edge, he could see camel sage, onion grass, gobi feather grass, wild alfalfa. I've made a wee note here that with the gobi feathergrass, we've got a direct reference to a place on Earth, assuming it's the Gobi Desert. Hmm. So the line of life and death is the Quanat itself is a line of water, if you like, and on the oasis edge, we have all of these new types of plants that we've not. I don't think we've heard any of these. I might be wrong. I would actually have to go and dig at one of my Dune notebooks out. Pardon me. I don't think we've had these plants mentioned before. Um, what was it, alfalfa? Was that some kind of TV character? It's got me thinking. Alfalfa. Lucerne. Disconfiguration. Perennial flowering plant and flower cultivated as a forage crop. Pardon me. Alfalfa hay, foodstuff, alfalfa sprouts, and field nitrogen fixer in crop rotation. There's a lot of places in America called alfalfa. Carl Alfalfa Switzer. Alfalfa, a character in the R Gang series played by Carl Switzer, and the source of the actor's nickname. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not that we ever saw much of that over here, but I know who that is. Sorry, that's just me trying to kind of join up the dots or something there. Pardon me. Never seen alfalfa. Let me see. Oh, hang on a second. Did I miss some of these? Let me see. Julian said the vision of time is broad, but when you pass through it, time becomes a narrow door. Carlos is saying it's like evolution. What works now to help us survive is what propels towards further evolution. Pardon me. The mirroring, Julian, hang on a sec, I'll get some fluids here. Right. This is Julian. The mirroring effect between Leto and Ghani is very sweet. They look out at each other in the same way as Jessica and Alia. They experience simultaneously. It must be a real bond. This read through helps me see the connection more. Yeah, I've been thinking about twins as well. And it's almost like they catch up to each other, don't they, in a funny kind of way, as they move here. And I think as this is the process actually also of separating the twins going through the next few chapters, these events. So it's kind of a bit sad, I think. Pardon me. I think twins are very interesting, aren't they? Got quite a few twins in mythology as well. I was thinking about having a wee look at them and seeing what we could see if there are any of them that lined up nicely with these two. But yeah, it is. And again, this is two 9-year-old kids, regardless of the other. I mean, they're going into absolute danger here. And the other thing is that it's as much as they have incredible abilities, there is real danger here. And not just sort of perceived, oh, I might lose my mind one day, something down the road. This is real survival. They know what's going on. They know they're being hunted, and they're kind of setting a trap, aren't they? A trap within the trap. But there's an admission to this, they muck up and they're dead here, basically. It's as simple as that. There is real risk to them, real danger. I was almost thinking that you could. I know there is a. I haven't. Oh goodness! Actually, I have read it, but I haven't. It's that long ago. I was thinking about. Is it Dune? Is it a National Lampoon book? I was thinking about just that you could have quite a good spoof of these books as well, if you wanted to have a bit of fun with them. But I don't know why it got me thinking about that. Sorry, my head's all over the place today, folks. We'll try and stay on target here a wee bit. In fact, I might have to pause for a wee second just to go and blow my nose. Yeah, in fact, I'll do that. Give me a wee second, folks, and I'll just be right back. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. But my nose was literally about to start running down my face. Pardon me. Let's see. I was saying at this point they mirror images of each other. It's only separation that allows them to develop as individuals. Yes, indeed. Up until recently, I was teaching a male and female twin of the same age as the characters in this book, which was quite fun. Uh, and they know that the characters in this book are twins of their age, basically. The book club that I do, I thought that was quite funny. Chess said, until now, the twins were the two faces of Janus. After the Tigers, they split. We've got lots of Janus aspects in these books, don't we? But yes, indeed. And it's always as much as I always thought it would be interesting if, as much as we have the God Emperor 3,500 years down the road, I often wondered what the universe would have been like if Ghanima had joined him in the whole process and became a God Empress herself. And it was always meant to be Ghanima that ruled on her own, and wasn't it originally? Leto was not in the original vision. There was one child, not two. I always find that interesting. Let's see. Oh yes, okay. So we had on the Oasis edge, you can see camel sage, onion grass, gobi feather grass, wild alfalfa. We've got a real earth reference there. In the last of the light, he could make out the black movements of birds pick hopping in the alfalfa. The distant green tassels were ruffled by a wind which drew shadows that moved right up to the orchard. The motion caught at his awareness, and he saw that the shadows hid within their fluid form a larger change, and that larger change gave ransom to the turning rainbows of a silver dusted sky. That's an interesting way of putting it, isn't it? The shadows hid within their fluid form a larger change, and that larger change gave ransom to the rainbows of a silver dusted sky. We've got birds here again, not really told what they are, but not the sort of birds that we normally hear of on Arrakis, pick hopping in the alfalfa, and grain tassels. So we've farming by the looks of it, cultivation, etc., on this planet in places where there shouldn't be, I suppose, and that this new life is expanding into the desert. Leto's thoughts here, what will happen out here? He asked himself. And he knew it would either be death or the play of death, himself the object. Ghanima would be the one to return, believing the reality of a death she had seen, or reporting sincerely from a deep hypnotic compulsion that her brother was indeed slain. The unknowns of this place haunted him. He thought how easy it would be to succumb to the demand for prescience, to risk launching his awareness into an unchanging, absolute future. The small vision of his dream was bad enough, though. So again, we've got this fleshed out a little bit. We know that we've got aspects of the twins' plan before. The details are kind of being filled in here, if you like. And it's Leto that's going to go for it, faking his death, basically. Ghanima, they've made their choice. Ghanima's going to be the one to return. We've kind of known this, as I said, but we have the details fleshed out, and this is it being acted out now, I suppose. Will it go the way they think? So it's either death or the play of death, to imitate being dead. The unknowns of the place haunted him. He thought how easy it would be to succumb to the demand for prescience, to risk launching his awareness into an unchanging, absolute future. The small vision of his dream was bad enough, though. So again, this temptation to, if we could look ahead and see what's here, but he doesn't risk it. He knew he dared not risk the larger vision. Presently, he returned to Ghanima's side. So I got the sense there that the small vision of his dream is that it's like a waking dream. It's not, maybe it gives you a certain amount of foreknowledge. He is a mentat as well, isn't he, by the sounds of it? Well, he is a mentat, isn't he? Small vision of his dream was bad enough, though. So I think like a little, the kind of minor prescience you might get with dreams, like Paul's dreams that come true. I think that's one thing, but to actually go down the larger vision, to actually actively go looking, that's he won't risk that. Presently, again, back to Ghanima's side. He returned to Ghanima's side. Presently, he returned to Ghanima's side. No pursuit yet, he said. The beasts they send for us will be large, Ghanima said. We may have time to see them coming. They're still holding hope for a death squad of ferrets coming over the sand dunes. We need quite a lot of them, though, wouldn't we? So more than one big animals, large. We may have time to see them coming. Not if they come in the night. It'll be dark very soon, she said. Yes, it's time we went down into our place. So this is the place that they've pre-prepared for this fight. He indicated the rocks to their left, and below them, where wind sand had eaten a tiny cleft in the basalt, it was large enough to admit them, but small enough to keep out large creatures. Leto felt himself reluctant to go there, but knew it must be done. That was the place he'd pointed out to Stilgar. They may really kill us, he said. That is the chance we have to take, she said. We owe it to our father. I'm not arguing. And he thought, this is the correct path. We do the thing. I like that. We do the thing. It's very assertive. We're doing this. And it's as much as Julian was saying earlier, that's it's quite sweet here. That it's the bravery of these are our heroes in this book, I think, along with Jessica. But these are our heroes here. And we're definitely rooting for them. But yeah, this is bravery. They're actively going into the desert here. They could have had, if they knew, arguably, if they knew that this was going on here, they could have got Stilgar, had a word, and had this place carpet bombed, and see how the Corrino Tigers deal with that and their handler. There's all sorts of things that they could have done, but they're directly going to face their danger. It's the correct path. It's their choice. We do the thing. But he knew how dangerous it was to be right in this universe. Their survival now demanded vigor and fitness and an understanding of their limitations in every moment. Always good to know your limitations. Oh. Firmly believe that. I've learned a few new ones lately, but that's just with the age and getting older, I suppose. But it's good to know what they are. Fremen ways were the best. I like this bit now. Fremen ways were their best armor, and the Bene Gesserit knowledge was a force held in reserve. So it's the Fremen knowledge within. That's their best defense here. Knowledge of the desert, and those kind of practices. Fremen survival tricks. Not Bene Gesserit stuff we'll keep in reserve, but the real thing that we need to operate to survive here is the Fremen ways of life. They were both thinking now as Atreides trained battle veterans with no other defenses than a Fremen toughness, which was not even hinted at by their childish bodies and their formal attire. So it's like the ultimate combination, isn't it? Some of this stuff, they've got the best of all the Fremen stuff. They've got the Bene Gesserit knowledge. They've got the Atreides battle training. It's, Fremen toughness, childish bodies, and formal attire. But we've just got a little bit of a list of the attributes that they have available to them, if you like. Leto fingered the hilt of the poison-tipped crysknife at his waist. Unconsciously, Ghanima duplicated the gesture. They're in sync. Absolutely alike. And we've also got a little bit more info. These aren't just normal knives. They've got poison on them. So these kids aren't so slow. Though it's quite a common thing in this universe to have poison on a blade, isn't it? Shall we go down now? Ghanima asked. As she spoke, she saw the movement far below them. Small movement, made less threatening by distance. Her stillness alerted Leto before she could utter a warning. Tigers, he said. Laza Tigers, she corrected him. I like that little touch. They see us, he said. We'd better hurry, she said. Amala would never stop those creatures. They will have been well trained for this. They will have been well trained for this. They'll have a human director somewhere around, he said, leading the way at a fast lope down the rocks to the left. Ghanima agreed, but kept it to herself, saving her strength. There'd be a human around somewhere. Those Laza Tigers couldn't be allowed to run free until the proper moment. That idea, I suppose, ultimately, if they had put them down at the right, they could go hunting other people, etc., become a nuisance, and end up having someone check them out or try to deal with them. So the tigers moved fast in the last of the light, leaping from rock to rock. They were eye-minded creatures, and soon it would be night, the time of the ear-minded. The bell call of a night bird came from the attendant's rocks to emphasize the change. Creatures, that's the wrong word, creatures of the darkness already were hustling in the shadows of the etched crevices. Still, the tigers remained visible to the running twins. The animals flowed with power, a rippling sense of golden sureness in every movement. Leto felt that he had stumbled into this place to free himself from his soul. He ran with the sure knowledge that he and Ghanima could reach their narrow notch in time, but his gaze kept returning with fascination to the oncoming beasts. One stumble and we're lost, he thought. That thought reduced the sureness of his knowledge, and he ran faster. There we go. It's a really good little chapter, isn't it? There's actually quite a bit in it. Frank's doing a kind of lot of, how would I put it, name dropping, if you like, for geological and just geological terms to do with the animals and flora and fauna, if you like, of this new Arrakis. And we have these deadly creatures that are bounding from rock to rock, which is interesting. The last little bit of it just reinforces the danger. As much as we've been told about these kids training and stuff like that, they're still little kids, and the realization that they muck this up in any way and they're doomed, they're dead, takes a bit of wind. Not, I wouldn't say the wind out of Leto's sails here, but that sureness, that cockiness, really, maybe, of his knowledge, and he ran faster. Rather than, yeah, I'll be okay. Just no, maybe not. Let's just move. And I think, and we're going to leave that. We're going to go away from that. You think almost when we go to the next chapter to see what happens. No, we won't, because it's something else. We're going to jump over back to Jessica. As far as yes, it's a couple of chapters before we'll get the conclusion to this, and that's Frank just basically giving us a little cliffhanger there, building the tension, building the sense of danger, and really getting the adventure beginning. I think the traps are being tested, new traps, new plans are being laid, and at this point, these two are risking everything. And the other thing that I really like about the twins here, by the way, why are they doing this? As I said, there'll be other ways of dealing with Alia and dealing with the priesthood. They actually could use their status in all sorts of ways, but they could go to Stilgar. They could have something done about these tigers, etc., etc. They're heading down a particular path, and it's this bit here I thought that is good for their character, if you like. They may really kill us, he said. And Ghanima says this. That is the chance we have to take, she said. We owe it to our father. I'm not arguing. And he thought this is the correct path. We do the thing. That little bit there, I thought that speaks spades for their character. It's a good little thing to put in. And they're doing it for Dad, basically, aren't they? They're doing it for family, some sense of loyalty to the Atreides. So yeah, we got geological terms, flora and fauna. We're back to the desert. away from safety. The adventure begins, risk, all risk. And I think it's a very punchy little chapter, and it's doing much to drive the action forward and set things up for us. Yeah, we've got a lot of this stuff going on at the minute. The intrigue has been building and building up until now, and now it's kind of erupting and the action begins, and we're being propelled forward. So I really enjoy it. It's a great little, it's a very tight little chapter from Frank. Yeah. Frank was bugging me a little bit a couple of places. I'll tell you what it was. I'm not going to pick out any particular example, but it's a thing that I wouldn't really poke at a writer for. I'm starting to have some real problems with Frank's syntax. There's just certain things, and I go, no, I wouldn't say that way. That's but there was a few of them in this chapter, I think, and I actually think it's very deliberate, to be honest with you. There was something in particular. I said, my God, that's awful. And then I was wondering, is it done deliberately? Because by mucking around with it, sometimes it gives it I don't know, what was I thinking? It kind of almost gives it a kind of unusual formality or sense of authority or something like that. But yeah, it's just me. I was having a bit of bother with some of Frank's syntax. A couple of sentences in this that were bugging me quite badly, I think. But I was just thinking, oh, you're just being a bit of a pedant here. I should have highlighted the one big example that I thought of there, probably. But yeah, I just thought there was a wee bit more of it in this chapter than usual. Maybe it's just because it's a short chapter, but there we go, folks, So that's chapter 24. And we're moving rightly through the book. Where are we up to now? I'm up to page 179, page 180 now. 426 in my copy to go. So 223 would be my halfway point, so not too far off. A few more chapters and we'll be hitting halfway. There we go, folks. That was nice. That was a nice quick one for me. That was very nice. Not too hard work. Not much to look up for a change as well. But it does, yeah, it's giving us building tension, driving the action forward, getting to see the twins in action here. How the culmination of their plans. Everybody's got a plan in these books. And we're going to see how the Corrino plan plays out, how the twins' plans work out, and then of course that separation. Let me just catch up your comments there. That was about the twins, yeah. I think something that's quite interesting to read about twins and their bond, if you like, in a funny kind of way, is who was I thinking? Philip K. Dick was a twin. If you look into his writing, there are a lot of characters who are within his books that are his dead twin sister. I believe he's buried with her, but if anybody checks out, there's a book called The Divine Invasion. Is a good biography of him. Actually, it's The Divine Invasions. One of his books is called The Divine Invasion. But there's a biography of Philip K. Dick called The Divine Invasions. That's it. I think I've got that right. But just often, Philip K. Dick often talks about his connection all throughout his entire life to his twin, which I thought was quite interesting. Just that there was a part of him missing, this kind of thing. Yeah, just Two Faces of Janus after the Tigers, they split. Yes, indeed. And the descriptions of the dark are very impressionistic, says Julia. Since then the twins are within walking distance of Sietch Tabr, how is it that the intruders are not noticed? Stilgar's gaze is quite limited, it seems. I think we take that they've been deliberately hiding somewhere, but as I said, yeah, maybe he's more concerned with imperial things than Fremen things, Maybe that's what's happened. But you certainly think that the Fremen, as you say, it's within walking distance of Sietch Tabr. The very least for safety, they would have outliers, outriders, this kind of thing, checking their perimeters. And, two bloody big tigers appearing out of nowhere, I think would be. You think somebody would notice. But again, it's how much has life changed? But it's a good point. And therefore it's an assassination attempt, Cynthia, isn't it? Within walking, as you say, within walking distance. And not that long a walking distance either. We get a little time frame within this, just in terms of the light of the day, late afternoon sunlight. So it's from late afternoon, takes them to twilight. So that would be a few hours just journey, but it's not that much. It's not a big distance, is it? Definitely. But yeah, there we go. I'm getting about halfway through my new second notebook as well. But there we are, folks. It's nice to have a wee bit of a quick one today. That wasn't too bad on my throat either, I think. But yes, indeed, thank you very much. It's a cracking wee chapter, I think. Listen, not too much work really to do for it. But I think it's a good setup chapter. So the next chapter 25, we're going to jump to Jessica and the fate of kingdoms with her. Gathene Al-Fali, that's it. I was just checking that just a minute. And then we're going to jump to when Sissy and Frad, the chapter after that, 26. And so it's, hang on, I missed it there. So this, 26, 27, we've got two chapters between this and the culmination of what's going on here with the trap. So we'll return to Ghanima and Leto in chapter 27. And if we're reading the book once, it's great for building tension, making us wonder what's going to happen. We want to make a wee shift around and then come back to it. It's good technique, I think. That was one of the things I just scribbled down here. Frank's building tension again. I wrote a good old Frank Herbert style, and he's good at it, I have to say. But yeah, very much started with the kind of all the intrigue and stuff that we've had so far. The action part of it starting to explode into the book as well, making it a bit more exciting for us. And it doesn't stop there; it just opens up more intrigue as well, But yeah, there we go. Well, listen, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. That's a bit of a quick one tonight. I'm going to take it. And what I will do is I'll say good night. Actually, I'm absolutely shattered. I didn't sleep a wink last night at all. It's been bloody freezing here, I hope you are all keeping well. Anyway, and saying thanks, Doctor. Thanks all. Thank you very much, folks. We'll definitely be back again as long as there's no severed limbs. Same time next week with chapter 25 of Children of Dune. Looking forward to it. And in the meantime, I'm going to be piling through this. I expect to have this read probably by a couple of days. But it's just like, so yeah, it's good to enjoy Frank. It's good, Frank Herbert books, Asimov, Clark, and Herbert. What I'm particularly enjoying at the moment is the Big Four. I'm going to keep saying the Big Four until we'll have to do something about that sooner or later, won't we? Carl said, till next time, amigos. Excellent. I'm just saying, bye all. Love those streams. Lovely streams. Thank you, Julian. And China saying, good night, all. Thanks, Doc. Thank you very much, all of you, as always. Take it easy. Look after yourselves. We'll see you real soon. And all the very best. Good night, folks. Oh, get my new mouse working. There we go. That's it. Bye-bye.